Hello, Hazard from Master Reviews here, ready for today's review. If you were to ask me what I remember, if you were to ask me basically what I remember watching as a kid, one of the things that would immediately cross my mind is the Madeline TV series. And if you want to ask one of the few childhood books I used to read a lot, it might just actually be Madeline. And you're probably wondering why a young 4-year-old, or I think there's a reason why I would probably watch it. There was something strange and sort of hypnotizing a bit with Madeline. It had its own charm. It had its own unique, um, shall I say, world and innocence, and it was hard not to not watch it because it was pretty much everywhere. You could find it either it was something from Disney or something from the ABC. Madeline was almost everywhere. Nowadays, not so much. The deep I mean, because I don't know who shows the Dick series anymore. And also there's but there are probably still some who would remember it, and there's probably still some books if people still read the books, which, you gotta love them. They're quite innocent. One thing I'm not sure people remember, to be honest, which I remember pretty well, is the 1998 movie. I think it was 98, yeah, from TriStar Pictures. Yeah, this was a live action adaptation of the Madeline movies, the Madeline short stories. And it's interesting with this is that they did this in an episodic feel, which is basically where they would pick the first four stories and combine them all to film a complete narrative. And episodic films can work, but then again they can't. And but for a young 4-year-old me who first saw this and first heard about it, I didn't really pay much of attention. In many ways, they sort of did, to me, I think they framed it quite right. As a kid, I can sort of pick up on it now. But granted, to be honest, with the books, I only ever read the first book because that was the only one I could find at my school library when I was young, that is. And also when I was a library prefect and putting books away. But yeah, to be honest, though here's the thing, I only ever saw this once when I was a kid. And then I saw it years later through Foxtel, just because there was nothing else around, and I remember it. I was like, maybe I can watch it. But the reason why I continue to remember it is the trailer. And those who watch my Before the Flicks will probably know that the Madeline trailer has appeared quite often on my Before the Flicks. I don't know why, but it just does. With considering I think the first time I obviously showed the VHS tape, the opening previous to the VHS tape, which I currently have. I showed, I think the first time I showed it in general with my VHS collection was my original recording of Stuart Little VHS tape, till I had to delete that because of copyright claim and then redid it again to, make it, appropriate and so I wouldn't get, trouble. But the first time I showed the trailer, I think was Kermit Swampier's DVD, if I'm correct. But, wanna know how I remember the trailer? Well, it was the final line said in the trailer. What was it? Well,
Wait, Hat, wait!
yeah, that line. Wait, hat, wait. I do not know how that has continued to remain in my head, but I never think of that trailer. I'm automatically going to think of that. It was drilled into my head, and I can never get it out. So why don't we just get started into the review? Let's get started with
Wait, Hat, wait!
my review of Madeline. Okay, so as I said, there are four stories of this. The first four books in the series. The first story involves Madeline getting having appendicitis and getting them removed. And this, as I said before, this is the only story only one of the books I read. And to be honest, I actually read it after I saw the film. And I thought it was fine. It's you know that's the only book I read. Just pretty much makes sense. They do have one scene in it that wasn't from the book with a new character. The character being Lord Cuckoo Face's wife, who used to go to Madeline's school, or has a connect, or has a friendship with Miss Clavel. Um, I should actually continue on. Is that Lord Cuckoo Face is known as Lord Connington in this? Just they only throw. There's only one scene where Madeline refers to him as Cuckoo Face. I don't know why, but well, and it's meant to be implied as an insult. I do not know because he is sort of a bit of a villain or stuck-up character after his wife dies. There's a real theme that the main premise of the story, that's overarching the story, is that Madeline School is going to get closed down after Cuckoo Face's wife passes away. And Madeline is trying her best to, Madeline, Miss Clavel, and the girls and the cook. Actually, the cook was probably given the most development in this movie, to be honest. And, trying to prevent the school from being shut down. But, yeah, that's the overall main plot. With the exception of one other one, which we will get to when we get to the end, which is basically the only real original story, essentially. Moving on. Yeah, so, yeah, after the wife dies, Madeline returns home. And then, of course, we get that scene I just mentioned.
Wait, Hat, wait!
Blur. Alright. Just, let's move on. So, yeah, we get that scene in the trailer. And in this story, we just see Pepito and the son of the Spanish ambassador move in next door to Madeline's school. And at this point, Madeline and the girls become vegetarians because Madeline thinks that the chicken cooked was a friend she made, was a chicken she befriended on her way back from hospital. Then Pepito scares the girls, yada yada yada, and then they eventually have supper after they were denied it by Miss Clavel after they refused to eat the chicken. Now, I think the next scene involves the girls cleaning the school, I think, and again, probably from the books. To be honest, I never quite got that scene flowing right, at least in my view. You also then, of course, you get the scene where where, where the girls go to Pepito's birthday. He scares them. Madeline stands up to him. I find the relationship between Madeline and Pepito very strange in this. It's not doesn't quite make sense, to be honest. I don't know. There's supposed to be more of a friendship with them and more of a respect, especially when I watch the show. But I can't really say. But yeah, then of course Madeline falls in the river, and they meet Genevieve, the dog, who becomes part of the school. Miss Clavel doesn't want him around because she's allergic to him. Eventually, the girls fail. The school's attempt to keep the school going to appease Lord Cuckoo Face fails. And believing that she is part responsible for everything that has happened, Madeline runs away from home. Only to discover Pepito being kidnapped by a group of circus performers or something like that. I forget, or some people working for the Spanish ambassador who plan on holding him ransom in order to get money, and Madeline gets captured with them. Yeah, this is the scene that's pretty much Home Alone. This side plot is basically Home Alone, and you really didn't need it. I mean, Home Alone, yes, was still very popular at this point, and I don't know. I think, yeah, it's hard to say. I didn't really like that. Of course, as at the end, you know, Madeline and Pepito save themselves. They return home. Cougar Face, Madeline manages to change Lord Cougar Face's mind, and and the school is saved. Genevieve remains with the school. Madeline fully becomes friends with Peter. Now, let's get on to my big issues with this. The episode format I actually don't mind, but the side plot of the span, the plan to kidnap Pepito. Yeah, that's horrible. I didn't like that. You got and yeah, like why change Cuckoo Face's name like, to Clayton? I don't get it. Just for that one scene, which yeah, you could have rubbed out. It just makes no sense. And, I mean, here's the other thing: is that the film actually opens up with a bit of a drawing style akin to the original books, and progresses into live action. I don't know. I mean, I think the film looks good overall. Um, but the school, I don't know. Could be okay. As I said, the film looks fine. I will admit, of all the actors, I mean, the acting's pretty good, honestly. I think, even though I wish his name wasn't changed to the character's name wasn't changed. Not Nigel Hawthorne, the late Nigel Hawthorne, as great as Cuckoo Face, honestly. Frances McDormand as Miss Lavelle is perfect. She was 100% cast perfection. She is great. And then there's Hattie Jones as Madeline. I'm surprised she never went anywhere because she was a really good actress. She did well in this, and I really wish she had have had a this wasn't her only major role. She was close to getting the role of Hermione Granger though, so you can you can sort of see why. But yeah, um, but as I say, with the exception of
Wait, Hat, wait!
oh, can you not play that, please? All right, all right. With the exception of that, I am. I overall think her performance was fine. I really did enjoy it, and the other girl actors for the girls are fine. Even Pepito's actor didn't do was also pretty good. The kid who played Pepito was good. Yeah. So with the exception of Cuckoo, the changing of Cuckoo Face's name, and the disciple of kidnapping Pepito, overall the story's fine. In terms of the actors, I think the only one I didn't quite like is the actress who played the cook. I don't know. I think she's fine. She looks fine. I don't know. She just isn't my favorite. Again, she's fine, not my favorite. And I don't know. Just as I said, I think overall it's a fine film. And I don't think it's that bad. It's just it's not many people talk about it because you know Madeline has sort of been forgotten a bit. And I mean, those who remember watching it remember it well, and those who read the books remember it. But this film really fell under the wayside, and I can see why. I mean, it wasn't that big at the box office, and critics, while they liked it, didn't think it was that special. Again, this is a perfectly fine kids film, and if you ever watch on, streaming service, whatever it is, I think maybe I don't know whatever one Sony's on, I think to check maybe Netflix or something. I'll have to double check what streaming service this is on, but those who watch it, and if you ever see it, you'll be fine. It's eye candy for your kids. But if anything, I would recommend either reading the books or watching the original Dick series. Even the made-for-TV movie Lost in Paris, which Disney uh, co-produced. Yeah, and I think honestly, I like that is fun. And plus, with both the TV series and the TV and Lost in Paris, you have the late Christopher Plummer being the narrator, and he is fantastic. I wish he could have returned for this film. Not saying the narrator for this was bad, but just saying Plummer was better. But yeah, and plus, oh yeah, there's no songs in this because that was a bit of a theme with the TV series. Again, which I'm okay with because you can kind of give or take with those songs. I don't really remember any of them, really. I can remember some of the rhythms of it, but in maybe one or two lines, but I don't remember the songs in the series. Jeez, I'm kind of going overboard by talking about the series. Huh. I don't plan on doing any reviews of the series yet. Maybe at some point I might do a review of Lost in Paris, but that's a bit That'll be a long time, like a very, very long time. But yeah, overall, I like Madeline. It's fine. I remember it. It's okay. Worth a watch. It's eye candy for your kids. It's a 6 out of 10 half stars. It's nothing special, but it's fine. Again, there's nothing memorable with the
Wait, Hat, wait!
exception. Stop playing that. Stop playing that. Okay. What? Yeah, as I said, there's nothing special. It's just fine. Perfectly fine. So what's next for my channel? Well, actually, of course, as you know, you're just gonna have to wait and see. I'm not sure when this video is gonna get released, but I think if you kind of know what's to come, well, actually, I will probably say this. I think anyone knows the Super Mario Bros. Movie would be high on my agenda. Yeah, and but to be honest with that, I'm actually going to do it a little bit differently. It's going to be more of a special video as like this, and I've got a bit of a special guest. Other than that, obviously keep tracking over for the flicks, like what I'm doing with them at the moment. But in the meantime, this is Hazard from Hazard Reviews out, and
Wait, Hat, wait!
Oh, come on.